Good afternoon, Carlos. I'm really glad to be here with you today. This is our fifth COVID coffee chat. And you are, of course, from UNDP Ecuador, the coordinator of the Inclusive Economic Growth and Disaster Risk Reduction Cluster. And we're really pleased to be chatting with you today because UNDP Ecuador has been developing the InMotion digital tools to support small and medium enterprises in Ecuador, which of course has been very significantly hit by the COVID crisis. What we're interested in hearing about from you today is how you have come up with this idea to support the SMEs and what tools you have been implementing in order to allow them to reactivate their businesses and provide services to their clients. I'm wondering if you can tell us a little bit about that.
Hello, Jacinta. Thank you for having me. Well, as you said, here in Ecuador, the situation has been a little bit complicated right now. And we needed to come up with a solution, and the first thing we needed to think about is that we will not be able to go and support in person the people that we were aiming to help. So what we started to do is we tried to take a first look at the tools that we already had. And one of those tools is a Marcha, which is InMotion. It's a package, it's a response package actually that you can find on the crisis response portal. And when we started to look at it and to see how this tool can be adapted to this context, we started to think about the fact that some businesses and small businesses were closing up. And most of the cases, there were cases where we had this small corner store, small bodegas, the store in the corner that everybody in the neighborhood goes to. And those stores have been impacted because of the fact that people were kind of scared to go outside at the beginning. And sometimes one of the good things about this is that people were starting to prefer to go to a closer place rather than to go to a supermarket because it will entail less risks in some cases. Another thing that happened in Ecuador is that you started getting all these SMS messages or WhatsApp messages from producers saying, I can bring your vegetables to your house, or are you interested? And people that were started to share information on who can get you vegetables or food items or whatever you needed for you. So having that idea in Notion, and we thought about the small stores. Most of those stores are run by women, are elderly especially, and we wanted to provide them with a solution that they will be able to apply by themselves, something that could be applied autonomously based on the principles of the InMotion toolkit, which is aimed to restore and reactivate small businesses. So what we decided is to create something that could be self-applicable, something that businesses can apply autonomously, something that could be also easily shareable, that ultimately will become something viral. So we decided and we designed 5 specific guides. Those specific guides have a short video, something that lasts, I think it's 1.5 minutes or 2 minutes top. And those guides range from, the first guide is about how can you keep your business active. So if you close up, you're not gonna have customers coming in, but you can reach out to them by SMS or WhatsApp. So we provided a very short, simple guide, step-by-step guide on how can you use WhatsApp to connect to your customers, how can you register yourself in national platforms that will put you will locate you in a map and will put your cell phone number so customers can reach out to you. So that was the first guide. The second guide that we designed was a guide to help those businesses to come up with delivery mechanisms. In some cases, those mechanisms can be linked by their own, the people that work in the store, the owners, or maybe using delivery mechanisms, or also developing the design and pickup solutions for them. So that was the second guide. Third guide, we are providing them and we're giving them advice, financial advice. So how you should manage your finances, what you're supposed to do with your debts, how should you start buying things so those things will increase your revenue or maintain your revenue, how could you save a little, and those sort of advice. The fourth guide was a guide just developed about all the cleanliness, health and safety protocols, how you need to clean up your store, how are you gonna have to disinfect all the stuff that you work with, how you're supposed to prepare the packages that you're going to send out and all that sort of stuff. The fifth guide is about payment methods, not necessarily just cash, but how can you tackle and use mobile money or credit cards or debit cards, how you can start using them. What are the costs that are behind those cards? What does it entail? What are the technological needs? If you need data and that sort of stuff. So a very step-by-step guide. So how can you use those mechanisms? And the last guide that we developed is a guide on how you can start coming up with sales. Let's say, for example, here in Ecuador, we have the Holy Week, and during the Holy Week, you have a traditional dish. And since you are not going to be able to go to your restaurant to get the traditional dish, then the market around the corner will be able to send you out a box with all the ingredients and a recipe so you can make it at your place. That sort of stuff. So how can you improve that? You know, come up with solutions, ideas, and special offers and that sort of stuff so you can try to reactivate your business.
And
so those are like the 6 guides. Those guides have videos, and we have done as well. We translated, thanks to Barbados country office, into English, so they can be available to all country offices. Yeah.
So that's great. So they're available in English and in Spanish, and can be utilized basically anywhere around the world from our colleagues in UNDP offices. Do you have a sense, like you've had 5 or 6 guides, and your videos and different tools and checklists are available online? We can provide the link to everyone after this webinar or after this discussion. Do you have a sense of what the uptake has been, what has been the response by your clients, how many people or businesses are actually participating and using these tools?
This has been an interesting way on how to connect, especially with the private sector. We developed these guides in coordination with the Ministry of Commerce and Trade and with the local governments. And then we've been approached by the private sector saying, for example, companies like Coca-Cola, or the ones that supply these small stores, they're saying, you know what, I am interested in helping my stores, the stores that I sell products to become available. So they've been volunteering themselves to print out the materials and handing it to them when they go and make deliveries of products. So that was an interesting thing that we have seen so far. I wouldn't be able to say because we released this a week ago, and hopefully we will see some changes. We do know that in Ecuador right now, around 60% of the stores have closed, but we want to see how that situation is changing over the next few weeks to see if we have that sort of, effect and impact on stores, like reopening again. And we have been also had the chance. That's why we designed these guides, so they can be used for different kinds of commerces and businesses and stores. So they can be also applied in other cities, not only in Quito, but all over Ecuador, and potentially all other countries. That's why we have designed something that could be also easily shareable. Ideally we can make it this viral and share by WhatsApp or by telephone, and that was one of the goals. So hopefully we will have some more specific data on what was the outreach of this.
Yeah, I mean, I think it would be really interesting over the next 2 or 3 months if you can track how it is that this is impacting the ability of small businesses to be activated, to be active, and to respond to the needs of the citizens in their neighborhoods. I think it would be really interesting. It will also contribute a lot in terms of documenting UNDP's interventions in the area of social economic livelihoods, and generating and invigorating that sector in such a crisis situation. Do you have any tips for other CEOs that might be trying to implement a similar scheme in terms of what are the needs they need to take into account in terms of the SME sector, and what actions they could take that would improve an implementation of initiatives such as In Motion Digital?
I think that one of the main tips is that reach out is very important. So start reaching out to the private sector, governments. We're supposed to coordinate always with governments. So that's like the first step that we should take. And then local governments and the private sector have a big potential on how to disseminate this. And since you are not able to go and ask people about what are the problems, and you cannot go and get data, you need to ask people that are around the corner, and and actually the private sector are the people that are in touch with these small stores, and they will be able to tell you, okay, I have been selling less and less of this, and this is because they have been closed up. And So that would be a very good proxy on how to design your interventions depending on the context that you are in.
Okay, so tip number one is make sure you do your outreach and get a sense of what your market might need. Any other key tips for our colleagues
Uh,
around the world?
Another thing that was super interesting is to reach out to other agencies. For example, UNHCR has a chatbot, and they offered the chatbot so we can put frequent asked questions about this, about small stores and how can we reconnect, all these questions around the guides that I told you about. So we are using UNHCR chatbot that is providing different kinds of information about health and migration, that sort of stuff. But also they are like opening up this section for entrepreneurship and small businesses. So that's also another interesting thing that you can start asking around on other agencies on how can you leverage and have a better economy scale and be more effective in disseminating your work and collaborating with other agencies.
And particularly relevant in terms of UNDP's upcoming role as lead on socioeconomic
Exactly.
initiative and recovery, and to be the lead not only in terms of providing that service, but integrating the strengths of all of our sister agencies. So that's a really important point. And I think that it's an important point to end on. Thank you so very much, Carlo, for your time. And thank you for participating in the Crisis Bureau COVID Coffee Chats, and for sharing the Latin American models with the rest of the community. We very much appreciate it. Hope you have a great day.
Thank you very much. This was super exciting. Thank you for having me, and up to the next time.
Great. We'll put your link to your tools, to the guides. We'll put them online along with the COVID Coffee Chat, and hopefully all of our colleagues who are interested in supporting SMEs and using digital tools will know where to go and who to talk to, which is the Ecuador team. Thank you very much, everybody.